Welcome to Creatively Committed. We have Lizzie Peirce, the talented photographer, videographer, business lady.
This is a great intro.
Yeah. We are going to hop on Facebook Live. If you guys aren't on the club yet, it's Pixel and Lens Visuals Club. I will leave the link in the description box if you want to join. Introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you do.
Okay.
For all the people.
My name's Lizzie Peirce. I grew up in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I am a video producer, photographer, recently shooting more video. I do a lot of creative things. All of the things.
All of the visuals.
Everyone wears a lot of hats.
It's funny how that works, isn't it? It's like you get it for photography or you get it for video and then you end up like shooting photos for Instagram or videos for YouTube.
Yeah, well, you want to try everything, and I think everyone has a favorite. You can get bored of doing one thing for too long. Like, I love editing, but I can't just edit. I also need to go out and be taking photos.
Yeah, would you say that's your favorite? Especially if you have a good
show on. Yeah, definitely. I really like editing photos, and I like editing video, but most of all, I like when a group of people can collaborate on a project, but I can write the script and sort of be a showrunner in that scenario, just sort of building it from the ground up, and not necessarily doing one portion of it, but getting to see the whole thing from beginning to end. When I first started, I had no idea what I was going to like, so I was pretty good at trying a lot of different things, and then I just kind of kept going with all of them at the same time, but a huge strength for me was definitely video producing.
That's a tough skill to have. Mm-hmm. You have to be a good writer, you have to be able to come up with the ideas and things like that.
Yeah, I think it is challenging, and because you kind of have your fingers in so many different things, you're thinking about so much, and especially, I mean, I'll say I'm a video producer, but a lot of the times with the business that Chris and I run, sorry,
there's a plane.
There's a plane. I'm very client facing, and I'll be writing the scripts and managing the budgets, but at the same time, I'm managing the schedule on set because we're a smaller company.
Right.
So
if you know Lizzie, you know this already, but she doesn't only do YouTube, but she has her own business as well, right?
I guess that should have been in my intro. So I co-run a creative agency. We do a lot of strictly video production, but also a little bit of photography and now more marketing as well. And we have chimes in the background.
You're working with Chris, and so how do you find like managing your relationship and the business?
Yeah.
You work together?
We're going to do a whole video on this because a lot of people ask that. It happened pretty naturally, and he is, unlike a lot of people, where he's a male that is very good at communicating. So that helps. It just works. I mean, I know what he doesn't like to do, and he knows what I don't like to do. It makes it easier that we can talk to each other so openly because we have a relationship, because I'm not afraid to dance around, something that I'm uncomfortable with to him. Like, I can just come right out and tell him what bothers me about a shot, or no, I don't want you to do that. I'm like, and I don't have to worry about offending him because he gets that. What is hard is being able to go home and turn off work and then turn on the relationship. You guys have the same.
It's tough.
It's hard, and we'll be at dinner and we're still talking about vlogging, or we're talking about the business, and we're talking about whatever, and I'll have to say, we should probably talk about something else.
Right.
Like, we've been doing this for too long. We need to change the subject. A lot of people say, oh, I can't work with my spouse, or I can't work with my boyfriend. I could never do that. And then I kind of think in the back of my head, like, well, if you want to have a house together and you want to have kids together, like, that is way more serious than working together.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You're co-investing. You are about to have a life. You support this little being together. Right. You are working together, so you definitely can. Yeah. It's just you don't want to, which is fine. Right. I think both of us are the type of people that we couldn't be with someone who didn't understand our work.
Definitely.
We also motivate each other to do it more, and then vacations become like half vacation, a little bit of like vlogging and things like that. But it's fun for us. So it would be weird if one of us was vlogging and the other one wasn't.
YouTube and working in the industry in general, it's like, sometimes there are nights where you have to work all night, and if you have a partner, a business partner, a spouse, or whatever that you're working with, they don't understand that, then sometimes it's kind of hard. So, there's nights sometimes where I'm like, well, I have to, work on this video and get it done, and it's like a Saturday night. He's like, okay, cool, like, send me some screenshots, and I'll work on the grading, and you can finish the video, and then we'll do, like, a teamwork.
Yeah.
And so it's cool that he understands that. I'm sure that you guys kind of work that same way.
But I wish we could have the same channel like you guys have, because we're both trying to do double the amount of work.
That must be tough, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's some challenges, too, with having, like, a joint channel, too. Like, well, Chris is working all the time and he's busy. Sometimes it's hard, like, I want to shoot something, but, Chris has to be in it because it's a joint channel, and if I do too many videos videos on my own. Yeah, I have to wait for him. And so, you know, sometimes he comes home from a long day and he'll shoot with me, and he's tired, but he does it because we had to get that content up. But
good guy.
Yeah. Okay, we got a couple questions.
Oh, good.
Well, let's start with this. So Sophie's asking Lizzie who inspires you. So let's dive into that.
Oh, that's hard. I'm not actually the type of person that finds like really super big, popular, famous people to be inspired by. I find it a lot more attainable to have friends and people I know that inspire me, because it just seems that much more accessible to be like them or to learn from them. So you guys were actually, you know, you're a group that inspired me. You inspire me. But honestly, like any female that I find who's killing it,
Yes.
I'm like, yes, you. And like,
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Well, when I found you, I was like, oh my god, yes, like followed everything.
And I get a lot of messages from girls, and they're just like, so nice to see another woman in the space. And I was talking with, well, you know her now, Kitty.
Yes.
Atola Visuals, if you guys follow her. She was asking me why I started YouTube. Well, main reason was that I just wanted to be that person for other girls, because I don't feel like there is one. Right. And as uncomfortable as that is to be, and I didn't want to be like, I want everyone to look up to me, but I just wanted to step forward and say, you know, other girls, you can do this too. And if you have to look at me and be like, oh, she's doing it, I can too, that's fine. Right. Use me. It's okay. Yeah. Because so many people can say, like, I want to be like Peter McKinnon. Right. Well, now there's like Sarah Dietschy. So a lot of girls are like, oh, I want to be like Sarah. Right. It's hard to find a variety of women in the space, so.
Definitely, yeah. It's so heavily male dominated, especially like on the YouTube space. And I mean, even like in my experiences, like working with video people, when I had my own company, I was like working with freelancers, and like most of them were male. It was very difficult to find like a lady filmer or like an editor, and so
I didn't notice that right away. Yeah, it happened over time, and I got to a certain point when I passed the amateur stage, because I always thought I would be a little excluded because maybe I was new, and then I started to realize I was like, oh, I'm just not one of the boys. Yeah, you can get used to it.
Exactly. I think that's changing. I think it's cool.
Changing.
Yeah,
it's changing. It definitely is, and I have this conversation with Chris a lot. My Chris, not Becky's Chris.
It gets confusing.
It is confusing. They don't see it a lot, and I think that's good. So I think it is changing, but you still have to be aware, and we have to be that little bit louder as females, I feel like.
Definitely. Do you find that you have any like weird experiences being like a female in that space when you're working with clients or trying to get jobs?
It definitely helps that Chris and I are a team. Because, or anyone that does behave that way or think that way, then he's there to kind of justify us as a pair. I will be aware in business meetings who they look at more for the answers. Right. And halfway through meetings, you know, they'll realize that I'm answering all the questions they're directing to Chris. And then their vision will start to change towards me, you know? And so, yeah, definitely, it does happen.
I find
Just
that
prove
too.
yourself.
Like, yeah, exactly. Some people like write us when we have a joint account, Chris and I, and Chris, like, how did you do this? And it's like, hey dude, like, hey man. I'm like, well, I actually did it.
Over here.
It's like, it's me. It's not always Chris. So Philip's asking, best way to switch from hobby to job? Like, when do you know that you feel ready?
You never feel ready. Sorry. You'll be presented with certain opportunities, and I think you'll know at a certain point when you can't take it anymore. In my particular case, I was working at another production company full time, and I knew very quickly that it wasn't going to be the right fit. I knew I always wanted to try working for myself and give it a shot, and I knew there was a very narrow window of time when I was younger to really be able to commit to it and not be risking too much. Right. Chris was working his own business, and he was getting more and more work that he couldn't handle, and I could tell by the way that he operates, he's very much like, he comes up with the ideas and he wants to go and do it, but he's not about pre-pro, he's not about, he doesn't want to be client-facing, like he's great at selling, but as far as managing expectations and constant communication and that kind of thing, it's not his strong suit, which is fine. It's not everybody's. Like, he's great at what he does, amazing photographer, amazing videographer. It's not his thing. Right. I was good at that. Yeah. We'd already worked together on a few projects on the side, so it's not like we were going into this cold turkey, and I mean, that was another thing that we had to deal with our relationship. Right. We just thought, I want to quit my job anyways, I've saved up some money, let's do it. And we were busy ever since.
It's nice too that you guys have kind of like different strengths, and that's what I found with my Chris as well. When we started, it's like there's certain things that he's really good at that I'm not so good at, so we can kind of delegate tasks, and it makes it a little bit easier. Dominic is saying, as a creator, what is your advice for developing a strong story within the footage you have shot, or how do you plan out a story before shooting it?
If you're doing something that's going to be interview based, if it's a real story, I guess, documentary style, I mean, I like to have a phone call with them ahead of time and have a long conversation, and eventually they'll say something that they think is irrelevant. There's actually the story that is is key. We were working on a project with a client named Tekla. They make assistive devices for people with disabilities and who are limited mobility from the shoulders down. It's a device that allows them to use touchscreen devices like cell phones and iPhones. And as we were talking to them and trying to figure out, you know, how to position this video, they mentioned a guy named Todd who used their device to sex his wife. That's the story. Everyone will find that hilarious. Yeah. You can position it one way for a younger demographic by using, you know, he was sexting. In another way for an older demographic who's maybe more romantic and traditional, you say he used it to court his wife. So going into that, you have to write a script and you make a shot list, and of course the interview will never turn out exactly as your script will, but you have an idea of what you're going for. If you are interviewing, I mean, writing out a script is a guideline. Don't feed them certain lines. Take that ideal script, turn them into questions, and then ask them those questions, and then as a professional you should know that you need them to speak in complete sentences and listen for that. If you guys want, I'll do a video on interview techniques. I want to do that eventually. That's a good idea. Because I think a lot of people do really poor interviews. You're good at it.
Oh, thanks. I've only done it like this is my third one, so it's still a work in progress. But you never really know until you start doing it, right? And it's like, it's okay, I think, to start it, and if it's a failure, then cool, you learn from it.
Well, I think Dave talked about this in your last video when he's doing a shoot with someone. If he keeps looking through the lens and you keep that eye contact, it's the same when you're interviewing someone. Exactly. You don't want to have to look down at your page very often. I'll try to remember the questions as best I can, or know what the goal is of the video, and then you can kind of spitball a little bit. But if you forget, wait till they're done. I almost like preface it a little bit. I'll be like, hold on 1 second, I want to make sure I covered everything, look down, and go, oh, okay, and then come back up. Don't, while they're talking, look down. Exactly. Because it throws them off, and it's not like you're having a conversation anymore. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know if any of you saw my Iceland video.
So good.
That,
so good.
I didn't write a script ahead of time, but I had a good idea of what I wanted it to look like and what I wanted it to feel like, and I don't pick out my music track ahead of time. I know Pete does, and I know a lot of people do, but I just have a good sense of what I want it to be. And I toyed with, you know, writing a few lines and writing some ideas down of shots I wanted, and so I have notes, but it's good to go in with a plan. I don't think you should ever go and just shoot whatever. You should have an idea of how it's going to open, and I knew that I was going to start with more close-ups and little snippets of Iceland, and then get into the wides and the drones, and then end with the shot of Chris. So I knew how it was going to flow. So even if you can come up with plot points or an idea of how you see it turning out, then I think
kind of helps steer the direction of like what you need.
I hope that answers your question.
Do you have any advice for managing social life and your job/hobbies? Good question.
That is a good one. If you want to get good at something, you're going to end up saying no to your friends. And it is important to maintain close connections. And I think in the YouTube space, that's how we met.
Yes.
So on one hand, you end up making more friends through it. But on the other hand, I don't go out every Friday night. You know, I'm 25. A lot of my friends still go out and party, and you know, I love doing that, but I don't do it as often as some of my friends because I want to practice frequency separation, and you know, I want to practice something in my craft, and or I have work to do, or I have a vlog to shoot, and that's okay because you'll be that much further in your craft and in your career. Totally. Because you've taken that time, but you have to pay attention to how you're feeling. If you feel like you're working too much and your happiness is suffering, then I think you know to go and spend some time with your friends. Like, try and plan one thing with your friends on the weekend, and then another night if you want to do a shoot, then do that.
Eric asks, how do you reach out to others if you're still a small creator?
I mean, engagement is important. You can't sit back on any platform and just expect people to start paying attention to you if you're not commenting and, you know, looking for other people who are in the same space. You shouldn't be just reaching out to another creator to get something from them. If you really like their work, then you just like their work, and you should just tell them that you like it. And then eventually, if that happens later, I think that's a good thing. But if your goal is to collaborate with someone and you want it to be mutually beneficial, and reaching out with other creators to collaborate and whatever, ask them what they need. If you're not sure, just be genuine about it. Don't say, hey, can I have a shout out on your Instagram? Don't say that.
Finding like people who are like a similar size or doing the same type of thing. Like when I came across you, like, well, I saw your videos and I was like, this girl's cool. I like her. And then we started like, I was watching your Instagram stories, and I was like, I thought your personality was fantastic. And then we started kind of like talking, and I was like, and then we just became friends. But it wasn't about like, oh, this person, you know, has so many subscribers, like, can do anything for me. It's like, I just wanted to be friends. Because we're doing the same thing. I thought we had a lot of interest, and you seem like a cool person.
And it was helpful that we were at the same level.
Exactly.
Because that made me feel like I could ask you questions that I couldn't ask a larger creator or someone, because I would be intimidated, obviously.
Yeah.
Then I felt we could help each other out. And since then,
Totally.
you know, we have formed a little, like, girl group on Instagram.
Yeah.
And, you know, because everyone just wants to help each other at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people can get really competitive when it comes to, you know, Instagram and YouTube, and you're not competing for things, though. You're all trying to help each other. I don't really understand how people get competitive in that space.
Yeah.
That's not the point.
Yeah. Good vibes only. That's what I always say. Yeah. How do you make all your photos more consistent with each other as far as editing style?
I'm still trying to keep a consistent theme. I use an app, I think it's called Preview, and you can, do you use this?
I don't.
And you can upload your photo in it and see how it looks on your grid.
Cool, before you actually
upload it.
I like that.
And a lot of times I'll make 7 exports of the same photo, tweaking it slightly to see if it fits, because even though you throw a preset on, even though I think it will fit in my mind, when I put it next to everything else, I'll go, oh, it's actually too vibrant, or it's too dark, and then I'll make adjustments based on that. So having an app like Preview I find really helps.
I think too, like with presets, like I think some people think that it's like, I'm gonna download these presets and click and they're gonna work. And like you said, like they don't always work on every photo, but like the point of presets is like, here, this is a starting point to kind of get this look.
Yes.
And then like adjust the temperature or the exposure based on that photo to make it work.
The look is gonna vary an insane amount depending on your lighting as well. Right. Especially with my presets, I'll find like they don't work on every single photo.
Right.
So they'll work on a good portion of them. But I find if it's an overcast day, they look great.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of the ones I just put up were based on Iceland. And it wasn't super sunny when we were there.
I loved your Iceland photos. They're fantastic.
Thanks.
So guys, she actually has her own Lightroom preset pack. You launched it like 2 weeks ago?
I did.
Or a week ago?
It's called the Starter Pack.
It's very cool.
This is my first pack that I ever made. They're $8.
Yeah, very affordable. You do a really good job of matching your Instagram even to your videos. Like there's a very consistent look.
They're also, they were my favorite colors, so I think I naturally gravitated towards them. That's also why I reached out to you though, because you guys have a very consistent theme.
It's
and
funny
I struggle
like,
with fonts and things like that.
Yeah. It's tough. Like fonts and things are tough. Like if you don't have like a design background. But like I find like with our Instagram feed, like I sometimes look at it, I'm like, oh my god, it's all over the place, and I'll have like a couple of squares where it's really consistent, and then I'm like, oh, I shot something that's like now it's like really blue, and like the other stuff is kind of like more like dark moody red. I think it's okay if it changes. Yeah. If you have like a few weeks of, you know, pretty neutral things and then you're going into beachy, as long as you do it gradually. Right. Like even if you look at, I'm going to use Pete's feed as an example again. If you start scrolling down, it does change a little bit. Right. But very gradually, like it all still fits, but yeah, if you look at a couple of months ago, it's completely different. Philip said, Peter once said, YouTube is a platform big enough for everyone. Once other people get this, they'll help each other. Yeah. Again, Peter's a great example. In a year, look where he is now. So crazy. Yeah. Well, even your Chris, it was like 9 months and he's at 100K now. Yeah, it can happen. Yeah. You have to commit and you have to be consistent and put that work in. You have to love doing it. I mean, in the beginning, it was a struggle for me. It's not easy. It's not... You don't put one up and you're like, great, I'm so happy, I'm so proud of myself, this is the greatest thing I've ever done. I don't think you feel like that at all when you first start. You're hypercritical. I tell some people, like, watching yourself on video is kind of like peeling off a Band-Aid slowly. That pain of getting it off, and then once it's over, you're like, oh, it's not so bad. I did it. It's not so bad. Oh, that person wrote a nice comment. Of course, not everyone is going to like everything you make. Right. You can't please everybody. You have to get through it if it's something you really want, and you have to hold yourself to a certain standard of, I put one video every week, and challenging yourself to go, okay, I want to learn this new trick or thing to make my photos that much better, and you challenge, you know, yourself to do one of those every week. And that's how you get better, by setting small milestones and doing things that make you uncomfortable, because that's how you know you really want them. Definitely. Yeah, if you told me a year ago that we would even be doing this right now, I would have laughed in your face. It is a constant learning process. You always have to be evolving and learning new things. You don't just learn how to edit and then it stops there. Even if you don't want to be like a famous YouTuber, Instagram influencer, whoever, you can still find a lot of value in uploading a video every week. Absolutely. Because it's constant practice and you're constantly forcing yourself to create something. You know, having that little audience that's watching too holds you accountable. Absolutely, it does, yeah. Like the second I got my first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, I was like, people are watching now. Yeah. You know, that changed my whole mentality behind it when I got even 1,000. 1,000 people will watch my video. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. And so you kind of feel like you owe them something. Totally, yeah. You want to do that for them, and then you get better in the process because you're constantly
practicing. But you can't, judge your success based on views. And I think that's when social media can get damaging for people.
Yeah,
psychologically. And anyone who wants to learn, that's what you have to keep in mind.
Exactly, yeah. Somebody messaged me after you guys all gave us that shout out on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Very kind, thank you.
No problem.
They're like, like, how has life changed since you got all these followers? Nothing really changes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, at a certain point you get to a certain level and it's like, okay, now I can, brands have eyes on you because you have more followers. But it's not like physically in here, like nothing else.
Nothing
changes. Yeah.
Yep.
It's the same. I think that sometimes like people don't realize that. They're like, I wish I had like
100K. What's your life like now?
Exactly. It's like the same.
Maybe
there's motivation.
Or
maybe you make a bit more money.
You make a bit more money. That's how you know that you're making great stuff and that you're moving forward.
Right.
In some ways, but that's not it. That's not everything.
That's not the only. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Actually, growing up, I was really into music. Similar to Chris. That's why we have a lot in common.
Yeah.
And I grew up playing classical piano. And
did you?
I did.
Wow.
And then I loved singing. That was the first thing. I still love singing. Guitar. But I'm not great at guitar. It was mostly just to accompany myself singing.
Right.
And then cello I started in school.
Really?
And then because of my music background, I picked it up really quickly. And I was first cello.
Crazy.
For a year and a half in high school. And then this other guy named Kevin, who I'm actually friends with now, amazing cellist, took private lessons. He beat me out for first cello, but I was second, so it was okay.
Yeah.
But he was amazingly talented, so I would love to pick it up again, but it's so many things.
It's hard to juggle. It's
Yeah.
like, I know what you mean.
So I thought I was going to go to school for that, and didn't after all. Yeah.
What made you decide to like not do it and go into TV? Was it radio and TV?
It was
arts?
RTA School of
RTA.
Media is what it's called now. It's called just Radio and Television Arts when I went. It was mostly because I loved music and I didn't want someone to tell me how to do it. I wanted it to be fun and I didn't want it to be work because it was always just a fun thing that I could enjoy wholeheartedly for myself. That was it. And I loved musical theater too. I was in the school show. I also didn't know too many careers as a musician. I was also really interested in media and I had a point and shoot that I used to shoot like all kinds of little videos with my friends with. I really didn't think I was going to get in because it was super competitive.
Right.
And long story short, I did, and I loved it, and it still took me 2 years in the program to figure out what my stream was. I started out in TV studio, actually.
Oh,
then
really?
I took an audio class. Realized I was not very good with audio.
I hate audio.
I'm not good at And then I got back into editing, and it was around this time I started dating Chris, and he was already doing some little projects for clients here and there. And I was like, damn, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can get a camera. I can do what he's doing. I love editing. For my birthday that year, my dad bought me a camera. And
what was it?
It was a Canon T3i.
Nice. I feel like that's like everyone's starting.
It was
like,
great.
Whatever their Rebel series.
I used it for a long time, and then I couldn't afford a better camera, and I was borrowing my friend's 5D Mark III for a long time.
Yeah.
Renting lenses and renting gear, and then I finally bought my own Mark III. Now I'm transitioning into all Sony stuff.
Yes.
And that was, so 6 years ago I got my first camera.
My first camera, well, I had a film camera that, it was my dad's, I borrowed it. And then the first camera I bought was the original Digital Rebel, the original Canon Digital Rebel with the kit lens. Yeah, it was like 2007 or 6, I think. It was used. I bought it used.
Yeah.
But it's funny because what you said your first camera and you borrowed and you rented. Somebody asked me on YouTube the other day, like, how do you get camera gear when you're poor, you don't have money or whatever, you're in school, and it's like, you borrow, rent, exactly, do like trades. Trades are really good.
I had no money in school.
Yeah.
I had no money, and I was shooting all the time. Like, the fake it till you make it thing is 100% true. I told a client once, right after I graduated, it's a nonprofit. It's actually my friend's mom. She's the CEO. She wanted me to do an After Effects project. I'd never touched After Effects. Like, yeah, of course I can do it. And I just knew I could figure it out in time. I gave myself a little bit of extra time to be able to learn, and I knew I'd be slow. This week I need to have 30 seconds done. I have a whole week to figure out how to do these 30 seconds and then chipped away at it slowly.
Right.
And that's how I learned After Effects.
That's amazing.
When people ask, how can I learn and get paid at the same time? If you don't feel confident that you can do something like that, then don't say that you can. But I knew I could, and I also had friends as resources to help me if I had questions. And luckily YouTube now is a huge thing. You can just Google whatever you need help with. I could make something way better now.
Exactly. But you would never have known that you could do it if you didn't do the job.
And also with the amount they were paying me, what they're going to get is going to kind of, equate to that amount.
Right.
They didn't have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to make, something incredible
Crazy.
beyond my skill level.
Right.
It was enough that they knew what they were going to get, and they were thrilled with what I gave them. So
yeah, that's awesome. How important do you think it is to interact with your fans on social media? I try to answer every single comment, but I find it super hard sometimes. How do you find time to interact?
I try to answer everything that I can. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I try to comment on everything and reply to as many DMs as I can. Again, you're not just sitting back and letting all of that come to you. You appreciate the interaction.
Right.
And the first day I post a photo, I'll reply to everything.
Yeah.
When I post a photo, I'll set aside like an hour or whatever it is to do the proper engagement to make sure that it does as well as it can.
Right.
It's social media. You have to be social. Will I be able to do that when I get to like Chris's level and Peter's level? Absolutely not.
How do you deal with like the negative comments? Do you...
I mean, there have been a few that, yeah, of course, have bothered me. There are YouTube trolls. That is a thing. People will say mean things just for the heck of it.
Yeah. Then it's like...
But
delete.
Yeah, you have the power to delete those guys.
Exactly.
That's the best part. It's like, so glad you took time to write that.
Yeah,
delete.
Thanks for the view. Bye.
Bye.
See ya. Another really good question here, actually. Norm says, do you prefer sunny days to take photos or overcast? Not based on the weather of where you live.
Both for different reasons. I like sunrise the best if I had to pick something other than those two.
Yeah.
Sunrise is my favorite. I like sunny days if I'm taking a landscape because I can shoot into the sun and get a sun flare. And I like overcast for portraits.
Yeah, overcast for portraits is key.
Yeah.
Unless
that soft lighting on the skin.
Would you prefer like portraits or do you rather do landscapes?
Probably portraits.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm still getting comfortable with landscapes. And I'm so used to having a subject.
Yeah.
And when you take that away, I'm like, what the heck
what?
am I shooting? I took some amazing ones in Arizona.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd been dreaming
Was
about
it
going
Horseshoe
there for
Bend? Is that what it's
Horseshoe
called?
Bend, yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
Terrifying.
Yeah, you got a sun flare in that, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, because it was like low light. It was like sunset.
Yeah.
It was like, I am going to try my best to get like landscapes.
Yeah.
And so it was fun.
You did
but
it.
I did it. Thank you. But like the sun, like we went to the Grand Canyon. It was overcast.
Yeah.
And it was like beautiful to be there. And it was like, holy shit, this is massive. But flat as flat could be.
It is.
And like no detail. And then so we waited around until sunset. And then suddenly the
Everything
canyons
changed.
had so much texture and depth. And I was like, wow, everything
They're
changed.
like all warm and red toned and
Yeah, and you could see like the layers, and I was like, wow, now you can see actually how big it is, because it's not just all this like
during
even.
the day you get these weird blue shadows from like the distant mountains.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah. Six Chilies, good movie. Fantastic movie.
God.
Loved it. Guys, if you haven't checked it out, you should check
A
it.
silly thing we made for a moment. Yeah.
And you filmed that whole thing on a phone, hey?
We filmed the whole thing on a phone, and it was not easier than filming on a DSLR. That was, again, I was producing and directing, and then Chris was handling a lot of the tech that day.
Right.
And so he was ready to kill himself at a certain point.
Yeah.
He was ready to throw the phone across the room.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
loved
we
it.
made a silly little comedy shot on a phone.
So good.
About a guy who eats some Indian food and really has to go to the bathroom.
Then, yeah, it's really good. You should definitely watch it. I remember watching
Funny.
it. This
Did
is
you
perfect.
laugh? Did you actually laugh?
I was dying.
Okay,
because, like,
good.
everyone's videos were like pretty serious.
Yeah, it was nothing like it.
And it was like, oh, I gotta watch this, and like was not what I was expecting. And
I know.
Because it's like so real.
You expected like my Iceland video or something.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like something, like,
really
crazy,
spiritual and like.
Yeah, it was poop jokes, and
was poop
those are
jokes.
also my favorite.
There's a lot of poop. I love a good poop joke.
I do too. 100%.
I just felt like people could relate to it. We knew everyone else was going to do something really serious. Why should we try to compete on the same level?
Just go the comedy way.
Yeah, let's just make something funny.
Oh, it worked 100%. Like everyone's been there, so
Everyone has
everyone
been
can
there.
relate. You know, it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, I think so.
I loved it. Hair secrets.
Hair secrets?
Aaron says he's growing out his hair and he's gotta get it to look as majestic as Chris's.
So very important thing is wash it properly. A lot of guys don't wash your hair properly. You do not have boy hair anymore. You have female hair if you're leaving it that long. So you have to use conditioner now. And I'm not talking about the 2-in-1s. Those don't work. You have to use shampoo and you have to use conditioner. They're different things. Do you agree with me on
I
this?
100%
Different
agree.
things.
Two different things.
It's not getting bubbly and soapy. You don't have enough. Because that was Chris's problem. He was not using enough of it.
And you gotta rinse it out real good.
Yeah, if you can comb through it with your fingers in the shower, it's a lot better for your hair. And leave it natural. If you have wavy hair, then you can put a bit of product in if you want. I put nothing in my haar. Chris actually prefers to put product in his hair. He has more hair products than I do.
Yeah, so does my Chris.
Yeah.
My Chris has way more hair products than I do.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Don't you, Chris? Don't just give me the
He's giving
finger
us the
off,
finger.
off camera.
Yeah.
Blow dryer and everything.
Chris uses a bit of Moroccan oil, like the curl cream. And
That's how
like,
he
on
gets
the
this
ends.
majestic
That's how he gets the majestic
flow.
wave. And a good haircut, so get it trimmed. That's about it.
That's it.
That's
Perfect.
it.
Okay, so we'll do one more question, then I got some rapid
Yeah.
fire questions for you.
Are these the same as before, or you changed them?
They're slightly different. There's a few. Like,
Okay,
There's some.
okay.
Some are the same. Some are different.
Okay.
Delaney is asking, creative slumps happen. How do you escape yours?
look for more inspiration. And it can be, sometimes I feel like I want to take a break from social media when that happens, because everything will make me feel very overwhelmed and inadequate.
Yeah.
But it just takes you finding one thing that inspires you again to pull you out of it. Usually I'll watch you guys or something, or, you know, a random video that comes up on Facebook, and it just takes that little kick to get back into it. But sometimes, like, it's okay to turn off social media for a day and give yourself some breathing time. Usually if you're drained, there's something that's doing it to you. You're working too much, or you didn't like the last project you worked on.
Right.
Or you didn't get great feedback, and you either just have to say, okay, well, I can do better next time, and I'm going to try again. I say this all the time. Half the people in the world don't try to begin with. Yeah. And that is going to be your biggest setback, is if you just stop. Again, start ripping off the Band-Aid. Yep. And it's not comfortable, and you just have to do it. And
gotta push through.
You gotta push through and try to get yourself inspired again. It's the same kind of like with going to the gym. If you can envision yourself like 8 months from now, like, where do I want to be in 8 months?
Right.
And I'm gonna have to live those 8 months anyways. I'm gonna post a photo every day for 8 months. How much better will I feel when that 8 months is up than if I didn't?
Right.
And I'm gonna get to 8 months from now, regardless. You're about to live through all of that time, so you might as well just keep doing the posts, or, you know, keep putting out YouTube videos or whatever it is.
It's kind of like lifestyle changes. It's like you make a goal and you stick to it. So like we did summer of 2016, we started vlogging. It was like, okay, I'm gonna put up a video every Sunday for 4 months. And by the end of the 4 months, I was like, I'm gonna keep going, because it's like a part of my routine now. I know exactly how long it's gonna take.
Takes 30 days to set a new routine.
Exactly, yeah. And so it's like a part of your life. And then now it's like 2 years later, and like pretty much we do, now we miss this Sunday, but pretty much we put up a video every Sunday. It's a part of your life, it's a part of your schedule, and all it takes is just doing it for a certain period of time. Okay, let's do some rapid fires. I gotta pull them up. Sony or Canon?
Ah! Oh, God. Canon.
Favorite YouTuber?
Oh, you guys. No, really, you guys.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Aw, that's really nice. Mac or PC?
Oh, Mac.
Yeah. Favorite frame rate?
120.
Premiere or Final Cut?
Premiere.
16 millimeters or 50 millimeters?
50.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Log Gamma or Rec 709?
Log.
Log. Android or Apple?
Apple.
Okay, why don't you tell everybody?
We're gonna using my name. It's Lizzie Peirce, so Lizzzie, and my last name is Peirce, not Pie. It's that on Instagram and on YouTube, and I do have a Twitter. Awesome. That I'm trying to use more.
Yes. Twitter. It's my new favorite now. I like just tweet random thoughts. I'll be like, why didn't I take my leftovers home? Like, stupid shit like that.
Yeah. If I didn't answer something you really want to ask me, then slide right into my DMs on Instagram.
Or tweet.
Or tweet. Yeah, tweet at me. That'd be good.
Good opportunity to get on the
tweet
Twitter.
at me. I'll check it later. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank
this
you
was so
fun.
fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a while since we've done this.
I never get to be interviewed.
Yeah, well now.
So nice.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to interview you, because it's like, female creator, you're so talented, so
Thanks.
I appreciate you taking the time to do it.
So are you.
Yeah. If you guys want to find Lizzie, all of the links are in the description box below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified when we post new videos. And we will see you on the next one.
Oh, bye! In the next one. I was like, you're just gonna say video?
I know, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. I was like, is it one?
When we post a new video.